Alright guys, welcome back to VALORANT News. The VCT kickoffs are really getting serious now, with many massive matchups going down over the last 24 hours. Yay and Bleed Esports eliminated already from the VCT Pacific kickoffs. Steel, after the DSG drama last year, responds, but also so does Yay, with a very interesting situation on what exactly happened in that final series they played, but also in the Americas. Sentinels versus 100 Thieves, the mega clout match of last night. Sen do get the victory, but lots of discussion after the fact on the fact that 100T, despite being a very good team it seems, as it presently stands, unable to play again for another month and a half because of the way the scheduling works. Very much interested your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always, I would greatly appreciate it. Firstly, big news as well, February the 21st, of course that is tomorrow, VCT team capsules will be available for purchase. So these are all about to be added into the games. And honestly really exciting to see how these actually have turned out. I know there's been talk from various teams about how good their one is, but of course they're going to say that their one is good because they want you to buy it, and therefore that team gets 50% of those profits that are generated, and therefore the players get a trickle down from that as well. So I'm pretty sure the way this will go is you'll buy the capsule, Riot takes 50% of that, and then 50% goes to the team. Probably the team themselves, the organization, will take 50% of that, and then the rest of the money will trickle down to the players. I'm guessing that's how it's going to work. I don't know if there's necessarily a mandated percentage on what the team can take as an organization, because at the end of the day, the organizations have a hard enough time making money. They will take a cut of this themselves, but obviously they'll want to pay some to the players as well, I imagine. So we'll see if that goes, or we get an X10 crit situation from back in the day. But this is the Bleed Esports situation. Yesterday, they played Global Esports, and look, fair play to Global Esports, good victory from those guys. I wasn't massively impressed with them the other day, but they did beat Bleed here. And I don't know what to say about Bleed Esports, because they should be better than this. I also don't understand exactly what is going on with the roles on this team, because Yay is running the Viper. I just don't understand. Okay, he was on the Jet here on the Icebox, and to be fair, they won the Icebox in the end. In yesterday's video, this series was ongoing, and they were down 4-8 at the half because Yay had an atrocious first half. He was like 0-8 after, the first start of it. Now, to be fair, he did have this, he got this three-piece, and I was like, damn, Yay's back. I mean, look at this. He gets 1-2, and then hits the third shot on the guy in the air. Really nice little three-piece there from Yay. But it's a weird time, right, with the way that things are going with Crow on the Astra, Tens on the Omen, Yay on the Viper. It's like, yeah, what has happened to the game that I love? I know that people are saying that because it doesn't feel the same now that it did before. But in the end, Bleed Esports, despite making a nice comeback there on the Icebox to win it 13-10, they lost the split 13-11 in the end after having a pretty rough start again to their defensive side. And if you look at all the maps, Yay just had a tough time here. He was on the Viper, was on the Jet, of course, and Egoist had a good series, and fair play to Global Esports getting the victory. But I think this is more a story about Bleed and what is going on with Yay, right? Because they paid this guy big money to go out there, and you'd expect he goes into that region and has a really, great showing. We saw it on DSG, of course. Last year was not pretty, and Yay has now not won a series in over a year. I mean, have a look at this. I mean, the last series he won was on Cloud9 at Sao Paulo, 15th of February last year. Since then, he's lost every series he's played. On to DRX shortly after that, but then on the DSG situation, they lost all of those. And then the two matches he's played on Bleed, lost both of those as well. And there was some reaction to this from Steel. Now, Steel will say in the replies, oh, I was just talking about my wardrobe and all this, my suitcase. I'm packing for Berlin for VCT and Mia. But he tweeted this pretty much right after Yay and Bleed had lost the series, and we know that there was some drama there between Yay and Steel. Now, Steel, it's not like Steel's an angel necessarily, like he's been into drama with other players in the past, but the basic assumption was on DSG last year is that Yay was frustrated with the way that team was structured and wasn't so happy with the way those players were performing, and Steel was saying, well, actually, no, Yay was at fault for a large part of those teams' issues last year, and Steel is kind of implying that he's maybe not displeased with the result. But actually, Yay says the following on Twitter today, that he was suffering with some sort of vision problem during the final series. He says, man, you guys are brutal. Not sure what happened that series. I've never had my vision start becoming blurry during a game. There were people on my screen sometimes, and I didn't even react. The worst part is I have no idea what caused it. Which might explain moments like this, where for some reason Yay just doesn't see and doesn't even react here, which was just really strange. So, that's what Yay goes on to say, that he doesn't know what caused it. I know some of you are mad. Don't blame the coaches or my teammates, just blame me, basically. But that's really tough for Yay, right? I don't know what's going on there. Obviously, he's going to have to get that figured out. I don't think we expected Bleed to qualify anyway for Masters Madrid from this, and probably neither did Yay and the team. But I think we expected more from Ye, and just hoping that he can get back to form, right? Because, yeah, the fall off there has been pretty brutal. But again, for the likes of Bleed, the same thing applies to what is true for 100T in a second, that these guys have played, you know, they've waited months to play official games. The first game they played had the ridiculously insane hour-long tech delays, which eventually were concluded. And then the next event that they play is going to be in April, basically. It honestly is a mess that people go here having had like 6 months off in part, play one series that was a joke, and play a second series within a couple of days, and that's them done for another month and a half. It is pretty ridiculous. The other match in that region that was going on was T1 Zeta Division. T1 got the victory here, 2-1 to advance through. So I have been really impressed with these guys so far. Xgrid has a top series here as well. And yeah, ever since Rossi really has come over to this team, it's looking fantastic for them. So funny in a way, right, that you get guys like you know, Governor and Rossi and these other imports that have happened from North America to the Pacific, and lots of them are showing up really nicely. But for some reason for Ye, it ain't working well. So they won the game 2-13-4. They then ended up taking the Sunset in the deciding map of the series. And just to hit the refresh on this to see how things are presently going, T1 have therefore qualified for the playoffs. Number 1 seed is quite nice in that region. PaperX, of course, already qualified. And as it stands, we just had Team Secret, by the way, take down Detonation 2-0. This was Coughing Baby versus Coughing Baby, this one. Like, I don't want to talk about this series, really. But a Detonation of God, Team Secret survive. And more than likely, it will be DRX and Talon that make it through. And right now, it's 8-6 in DRX's favour on the split game 1. But 2 massive matches in the Americas as well. Yesterday, FURIA MIBR was a really interesting one. Because, look, I predicted FURIA to make it out of this group. And maybe that wasn't a great prediction. I know that I also joked about it a couple of weeks ago, that MIBR might be a threat here. But I couldn't really pick myself to actually go ahead and do that. Maybe I should have done, right? Because MIBR, they might not be great, but they look solid enough. I don't know what's going on here, by the way, with FURIA. I mean, this was a shocking round to lose, and they got 2-0'd in frankly embarrassing fashion. So yeah, not really too much positive to say here from FURIA. Lots of errors, lots of mistakes, and on the level of performance that we've seen so far, it's difficult to imagine that Cloud9 won't also make it out of that group. But also I think it raises questions to NRG, because they did beat FURIA quite comfortably in the end. But, you know, in hindsight, you've got to think, well, was that just FURIA being pretty terrible as opposed to NRG being especially good? I guess we'll see against Cloud9 what the trend is on that. But yeah, FURIA eliminated from the tournament already. MIBR move on, and look, if they upset Cloud9 and they become the team to do that, then maybe I'll be somewhat satisfied that my prediction might have been true, but I still have a hard time believing it. But yeah, the Battle of Brazil goes MIBR's way for now, and big questions to be asked on FURIA. But then we got the Clout Bowl, right? 100T versus Sentinels, and this group has not disappointed at all, you know. Often there's talk about, well, it's the group of death, and sometimes you'll find that actually what you think is the group of death, a couple of the teams aren't really as good as you expected them to be. But in this group, absolutely not, right? The level of VALORANT here was very impressive. Sentinels dominated the game on Lotus. 100T, though, bounced back and dominated them on the bind, which I thought was pretty fascinating. And then it was a split, and a split which is all, you know what I mean? When it's split decider, you know it's going to be a banger final map. It always is. And EU had a crazy 1 versus 3 here to actually bring them back and actually win this round against Sentinels. I think Sen were the better team this series. They did close out the series in the end, but man, it was competitive, right? 100T, again, this is the question with 100T, and it's always going to be a question while they keep doing this, how they found themselves in such a promising position, then lost a crucial Thrifty round in a very poor way, and that was momentum switched back in Sentinel's way, right? I know that John QT was pretty mega this map as well. Crow was making plays. I mean, here he's on the Astro, which is not something that you necessarily see every single day, but Sen won a crucial round. John QT then goes big here as well with a nice little 3k, hit some really crispy shots, especially on the third, and then Sentinels closed out the game. So it's really tough for 100T, because Sentinels definitely played some great VALORANT here. You know, Sassy went big time at the end as well to close it out on the split. But 100T were easily good enough to make it out of, I think, of another group in this. But they were put into this group, and they had to play against Sentinels. Now, Sentinels will definitely need to improve and get better if they want to make a run and make it to Masters Madrid. They played better this series, but there are still some questions on that team. But it was a good victory nonetheless. And, well, we can have a look at some of the numbers right here. I think one of the questions that I have really is around Asuna, because Cryo, Bang, EU, like they all had their moments. Of course, Boostio is the in-game leader, and I think has clearly helped this team make a step. But Asuna, again, right, he's been the man on 100T for years now, who's been the focus of their kind of next steps, right? He's meant to be this next great player. We've never really seen it, and especially the evidence of yesterday, there's questions as to whether that's ever really going to happen. Like, is Asuna ever going to be the player of 100T that they need him to be? Because they've stuck with this trio, and you've got to say that it's Asuna who's been pretty underwhelming. Yes, they won the Bind 13-6, it was Sentinels pick, so this is a map that Sen will really have to think about, because, you know, losing 13-6 on their pick when probably a team that really is crushing it probably wins this map and close out the series, but I did close out the split 13-8 in the end, and Sentinels showed why they were one of the big favourites here to qualify through this group, but also, of course, to qualify for Masters Madrid. But man, things get harder, because 100T go out of the tournament, Zelsis and the boys will then go on to play either Loud or Lev, which is going to be a mega rematch if it's Loud, and if it's Lev, that'll be, you know, remarkable. Of course, you know, Lev took down 100T in a close series as well, so that'd be really interesting to see. But as Zelsis says, and I think this was some of the main reaction actually, was the fact that 100T played really well here. I know that they lost the series, but I think they played at a good level, and without a couple of errors that are pretty characteristic now of 100T, they would have been in a good position. Would they have been good enough? Because, as I've said before, only 2 teams make it to Masters Madrid, so if you can't make it out of your group, then clearly you weren't good enough to make it to Masters Madrid, because there's only 2 teams out of the group, so, you know, you've got to just take it on the chin. But at the same time, they've waited for months, really, not playing anything. They come to the tournament, they play 2 matches, and now they're gone, right? I mean, the format is just really... Other esports don't tend to do it like this. They'll have some sort of, you know, group stage, round robin, or just something where the teams get to play some more games, because it's just really rough that now they're eliminated. Then they have to go through Masters Madrid not even playing it, scrimming the whole time, and then they get to play again in like April when the league starts. It's just, yeah, I think it's a horribly designed calendar, frankly. And as Chet says, 100T waited 6 months from last year to play 2 matches. We've got another month break. Our esports calendar is so badly designed. He goes on to say the same about M80 as well. And it's even worse for the Ascension teams, really. They played Ascension Finals the 9th of July, that was last year, and will not have their first games until mid-March. Basically 8 months of screwing with nothing notable to play on. So it has to change. People know that it has to change. And even Courage, of course, of 100T, content creator, but, you know, still gets the point across here that the structure is laughably bad. 2 close games, don't play until April, you know, loads of frustrations, and Chet agrees. But of course, thankfully, I guess for Chet and NRG from their perspective, they are probably going to be playing more games than that, because, well, they at least made it through the winners bracket of their group for now. We'll see how that goes over the next couple of days, because this is the situation as it stands. Those are the final matches in the Americas for a couple of days now, before things then return on the 23rd. So NRG Cloud9 back on the 23rd again, then on the 24th, well, actually, I guess Loud Lev is also on the 23rd as well, but it's just late my time, and then it's the next day where we really start to get some answers here. So a couple of days in the Americas while the other regions get back on the way. Very much enjoyed your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, take care, and I'll see you next time.